Well, you know, my new best friend, Senator Thompson, assures me that television cameras are nothing to be afraid of. I don't have a set view on that. I do think it's something that I would want to listen to the views of, if I were confirmed, to my colleagues.
I would suggest then to the chairman that we move quickly on that bill before he's got an opinion on it.
I think it might make me and my colleagues behave differently than they would otherwise. Perhaps they would become accustomed to it after a while. The press is part of our environment. We can't really excise it from the environment. But in the courtroom, I think that the tradition has been that we not have that outside distraction, and I am inclined to say that I would not want them in an appellate court chambers.
I think it'd be good for the American public to see what's going on there. I don't know how long they would be interested in what goes on in appellate argument. It tends to be not so, it doesn't rivet your attention except maybe perhaps in the cases that have garnered a tremendous amount of publicity. But I see no reason why, beyond that concern, American people should not have access to the courts.
My view on that is I don't see any problem with having proceedings televised. I think it would be good for the public.
At that time, I voted in favor in the Judicial Conference of experimenting with television in the courtroom. That has been carried out. The results of that are being evaluated in the federal system. My particular appeals court was not part of the experiment, but not for want of willingness. It was because they could only have a small number. That's the circumstance in which I think my vote in favor of the experiment was right as of this moment.
Well, I had the opportunity to deal with this issue actually in relation to my own court. A number of years ago, all the courts of appeals were given the authority to allow their oral arguments to be televised if they wanted, and we had a debate within our court about whether we should allow television cameras in our courtroom, and I argued that we should do it. I thought that it would. It would be a useful.
Really, you've taken a position on this issue?
Well, I did, and this was one of the matters on which I ended up in dissent in my court. I think the majority was fearful that our Nielsen numbers would be in the negative.
Could you promise the same result?
I have had positive experiences with cameras when I have been asked to join experiments of using cameras in the courtroom. I have participated. I have volunteered.
But I have said that I think it would be a terrific thing to have cameras in the courtroom. And the reason, I think, is as when you see what happens there, it's an inspiring sight. And so I think it would be a great thing for the institution, and more important, I think it would be a great thing for the American people.